City News is brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.
Kia ora Rotorua, ahead in tonight's bulletin. Thrill seekers now have a new challenge with the official launch of Zoom Ziplines. Labour Party candidate for Rotorua Tamati Coffee is inviting the community to the official launch of his election campaign, and the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union is on the lookout for future steamers. Thrill seekers now have a new challenge with the official launch of Zoom Ziplines. The new gravity ride was opened at Skyline by MP Todd McClay yesterday. Skyline General Manager Bruce Thomason says feedback so far is positive.
Yes, Zoom Zipline, it's a Canadian company. We've been in communications with them probably since about 2007. In effect, they were looking at a site. We have Luge in Canada, and they first became aware of the Luge in Tremblant, and then we set up a Luge in Calgary. And we looked at sites together of where could we put Zipline and Luge, and one of the first sites we looked at was actually Stockholm. So this has been a conversation that's been years in the coming, and at last we've brought it to Rotorua, and we think it's going to be a resounding success.
And 3, 2, 1, go!
Labour Party candidate for Rotorua Tamati Coffee is inviting the community to the official launch of his general election campaign. The launch this Friday will also be the opening of his Labour office in Tutenakai Street. Speaking at the event will be Sir Toby Curtis, as well as a blessing from Reverend Tom Porter of St Faith's Church. Tamati says he will campaign on a platform of common sense representation.
Well, there are 150,000 people nationwide who have just turned either 18, 19, 20 and will be voting in their first election, so that's a huge number of people, young people. There's also 150,000 new migrants that will be voting for their first time as well. So it's about getting to those people, and also, as we said before, those million people that stayed at home last election and didn't even bother to get out of their seat or leave their house and go and vote. So it's not about, for me, it's not about convincing all these National Party people that they should be Labour voters. It's about trying to mobilise those ones that sat at home last time round and say to them, and the young ones, and say to them, you know what? You should start taking an interest because this is big and this affects your future.
RDC is encouraging residents to take part in the district's annual Perceptions of Safety survey, which gets underway this week. Rotorua District Councillor Meripekaru Kawa-Tate, portfolio lead for the council's People Strategy, says local company APR Consultants is conducting the survey. She says the survey asks about residents' awareness of local safety initiatives and about any experience they may have personally had with crime. Results are expected to be available by the end of July. And local women have the chance tomorrow of brushing up on chainsaw safety when Still Shop Rotorua hold a special training session to mark Chainsaw Safety Week. World-renowned timber sports champion Jason Wynnard will be hosting the event, which kicks off at 11 a.m. And in sport tonight, young rugby players had the chance to show off their skills these school holidays at the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union's Talent ID Days. Coordinator Chad Turo says the union is looking for players to take part in the Future Steamers program and age grade representative teams for the year.
Yeah, looking good. We've been around Tauranga, Whakatane and Rotorua here today, so we'll be able to canvass probably about 60 kids, and some definitely good talent coming through.
To your weather update now. Tonight looks fine with light winds and an overnight low of 3. Tomorrow, Thursday, more fine weather with light winds, a high of 16 and a low of 3. And the outlook for Friday, fine again with light winds, a high of 16 and a low of 5. And the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua, southwest 10 knots with waves less than half a metre and fine. Remember, for program listings and other info or to catch up on City News, you can visit our website tvrotorua.co.nz. Still to come tonight in City News, we talk with RDC Parks Manager Walter Miller about new winter plantings for our city's flower beds, and we're at the St John National Youth Festival and competition held last weekend at Henners Bay.
Well, Rotorua is renowned for its beautiful gardens, and one of those reasons why is because they've got a very dedicated gardening team at Castle Corp. Now, joining me today is Walter Miller, who is the Parks Operations Manager here at the Council. Thanks for joining us today, Walter. Now, one of the reasons why Rotorua is so beautiful is because, like I said, it's the gardening and the different annual beds they have around the city. But just recently, they've been completely redone and remodelled, and they're looking pretty quiet at the moment, but still a dedicated team from Castle Corp.
That's correct. We're in the process now of renewing our beds. We're going into the winter season now. We've just got rid of the summer bedding. You can see all the various new plants around at the moment. We've got poppies here, we've got pansies, we've got polyanthus. We do that twice a year. We strip out the beds after Easter. If the beds are looking really good, we'll try and leave them till Easter and then strip them out and replant them. So we're in the process now. We've just finished the bedding. We'll be going into the tulips next. The tulips will be another bonus, and we'll be planting those first week in May.
And once they start to bloom, I guess the city will be absolutely looking fantastic.
It will. They're actually starting to bloom now. The poppies are starting. The polyanthus won't be long. The antirrhinum's a little bit longer, but it won't be too long. And up Fenton Street and Arawa Street this year we have stock. They make a magic display. They'll flower early spring, and they'll go right through till we rip the beds out again after Labour weekend. So yes, it's a busy time for us at the moment, and as I say, Castle Corp do a magic job too of the looking after them, and it's a real effort and a real team effort.
Now, for the viewers that don't know, we're actually in behind the council buildings here beside the bowling green, and the annual bed behind us used to be full of parsley, but this year it's a bit different.
Well, it's not really different. It's just the fact that the parsley is a summer bedding that we use. Green, of course, is a universal colour. I mean, it's a good ground cover, and it complements various other colours that we use with it. So yes, it won't go through the winter as such. So we pulled that out and we've replanted. But again, come after Labour weekend next summer, we'll be looking at parsley again in some of the other areas. Yeah. We try and stagger the plantings. We do have certain plants that we use because obviously we want to make sure that the blooming period will extend from as long as possible. So we do have our favourite plants. Parsley is one, and a lot of other plants like begonias and stock are another that we use quite regularly.
Do you find that the public help themselves to the parsley?
They can do, but we turn a blind eye. We don't, there's so much of it that we don't miss the odd spray of parsley that disappears.
I don't know if you'd want the ones that are here behind us, or in the summer when they're here, because of all the car fumes just wafting across. Wouldn't be too tasty.
Well, it really probably doesn't make too much difference. It's probably at least they don't have sprays on and this sort of thing. So I don't think it really makes too much difference.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit, Walter. Obviously, you just said now that they don't use sprays. Is that you talking about chemicals?
We do use sprays, but we try and minimise them where we can. Certain things like roses we do have a problem with in the summer, but we try and reduce the sprays as much as we can. But we do have to use the odd one. But again, we use them sparingly and discreetly, and after hours more than anything.
Now, right at the start of the story, I mentioned the dedicated team from Castle Corp. Now, they seem to be quite popular workers because you walk around town or drive past them, they're always getting toots from the public.
Well, they are. I mean, they do good. They do a magic job. So I can understand the public. They feel that they get value for rates. They can see something. It's not like an engineering thing where the money goes underground. This is sort of visual, and they do. We do. The whole team does a good job. Yeah. So yeah, we're very pleased with them.
Now, Walter, I guess your team is a bit of an unsung heroes, really, because we do see the amazing work that they do. But do you get much gratitude or much feedback from the public?
We do. We get quite a lot of feedback, really. They see value. We have a nursery down there as well, and the nursery caters for quite a lot of the public too. They can come and buy their plants there as well. So, they see it as they go around. They see all these plants, and they feel that they have, they get value for money, and we do get a certain amount of credit for that. And there's always comments, particularly when the tulips are out. There's lots of comments in the paper and what have you about the displays. So we're quite happy with that.
Good stuff, Rotorua. We appreciate what you and your team do at Castle Corp, so I appreciate your time. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, Keswick Christian Camp here in Rotorua is well known for lots of activities, particularly on long weekends, but it's taken on a very, very different look over the course of this Anzac weekend. In excess of 300 St John personnel, both from the littlies to the biggies, are here for a very, very, I guess in some ways, intense weekend of training and competition, but it is also called a festival, and with me is one of the organisers of the community and the programming side is Sonia Gale. Sonia, this is a huge event. Welcome to Rotorua.
Thank you, Wayne.
And behind us here is a typical example. We'll get into that at the moment in terms of the activities, but
Sure.
A little bit of a background as to what this is all about.
Absolutely. Well, St John's been running a cadet program in New Zealand since 1927, so we've got a long heritage here in New Zealand, and the program operates for children aged 8 to 18. Lots of different activities that we run within that program, but the key festival that we have here happening this weekend is an annual event for us. It's our, major event on the calendar each year. We have multiple different types of people that come, help us make it happen, and the festival's really got two key components to it. It's got the competition component, which is our elite, our top of the top.
That's the intense bit, isn't
It absolutely is. It's what you can see happening behind us here. And the other part of it is really about bringing our people together, giving them an opportunity to learn from each other, look at where our program's heading into the future, just have a lot of fun along the way.
Sure. Now, as we said intense, but obviously one of the things I'm very aware of is all these different scenarios that we'll be capturing while we're here today are treated as serious.
Yeah.
They are typical examples of what might be call-outs, if you like,
That's right.
And where training is absolutely crucial.
Absolutely is, and the program that we run for our young people is really about giving them the life skills to be able to respond in an emergency. We don't expect them to be perfect clinicians at age 16, but we want to help them build their confidence so that when they're out in their communities participating in their schools and their after-schools activities and their family and the home, that they've got a really good ethos about volunteering, about giving, and most importantly about responding when there's a time of need for other people. So that's really the crucial part for us today, is giving them some scenarios where they can really draw on the strength of those skills.
And I would imagine too, because of the nature of it, there's very, very much character building, and also being part of a team. It's an old cliche, there's no I in team, but let's face it, in a situation where they're called out as
That's
a team,
right.
and even to these scenarios, they've got to work together.
Absolutely. So like you mentioned, it's the tests here are to challenge them. Some of them are a little bit outside what you might expect to see happen every day in your community. We've got a parachute test happening in another area. You might not come across that every day. However,
What
it's all about
sort of scenarios
challenging
have you got for this? I know there's someone buried in sand and yachts colliding and all sorts of things, but these happen, don't they?
That's right. So there's a mixture of things where we look at their skills and abilities for trauma incidents. So that's anything that could be a wound injury or a bone fracture, those types of things. And then we also look at their ability to assess patients and understand medical conditions. So the tests today have a real mixture of trauma and medical, and we just put those types of medical conditions and injuries into a type of scenario. So the test you see happening behind us as a first aid post. So the idea is they're out in their community, serving their community like you would at an event, whether it be pony show or something like that, and there'll be just different people that come and ask for their help during the day. So in this test in particular behind us, there's a mixture of patients that have some medical conditions that have flared up during the day and they need to come and get some support, or people that have rolled their ankle, for example, and just need to get a little bit of treatment to that to support them.
TLC.
So it's the one.
Another aspect of this whole thing is that it's focusing on youth.
That's right.
And I think that's amazing from the point of view that we often hear in the media and all sorts of different places that the young people of New Zealand are dissed for this and they're dissed for that and so on. But this is a typical example of some good kids out there.
There's a lot of good kids out there, and we appreciate your time today, Wayne, because it's actually quite difficult to get stories about the good things young people in New Zealand are doing today. It's quite easy to get stories in the media about the negative. So there's a huge number of young people out there owning their futures and owning their participation in their community. And we know we've got 6,500 young people in our program in New Zealand coming along every week. Absolutely, to learn these skills, but absolutely the ethos is there around what it means to give and be part of your community. So sometimes I think we're a little bit guilty as a New Zealand society of maybe not quite appreciating what they're really doing.
Well, what we're seeing via this is a typical example, obviously. But let's look at finally look at the aspect of it's not all intensity or character building or discipline or whatever. Yep. There's a prize giving, there's a dinner, and then on the Sunday, of course, there's a chill out day. So it's a bit of it. And I tell you what, it was wonderful seeing them, all of you actually, at the Anzac service as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's one of the we've got a couple of different objectives, if you like, of the festival. The competitions are one of them. Having fun's one of them. Learning, but also engaging in the local communities. This festival's held in different towns around New Zealand each year. It's really important for us to engage with that community when we come here. It's only once a year that we have representatives from our program from all around the country. So we were just very honoured that the Civic Service opened their doors to our 300 odd people.
Yeah, it looked fantastic.
So.
It really did, because they're all in uniform and all the badges and medals and everything fitted in very nicely. Listen, we appreciate what you guys do in the community from all levels upwards.
Thank you.
And do come back to Rotorua sometime soon.
We hope so.
Thanks for your time.
Wayne.
Well, we've had a look at quite a number of the scenarios here at Keswick Christian Camp for the St John Festival, the annual festival and competitions here, and I guess the next best step is to talk to one of those who's been involved, and he's one of the front guys in terms of these scenarios, taking them very seriously. Ravi Prasad, great to spend some time with you.
Thank you.
Downtime in some ways.
Yeah, downtime.
I want to get into the whole aspect of this festival. We've talked to Sonia about the overall concept of the whole thing, but you've been, can I be rude and ask you how old you are first?
I'm 17 and a half, so this is my last year of international competitions.
Yeah.
So
let's go back to the beginning for you, Ravi. Why did you get involved in St John in the first place? Because you're from Fiji originally.
Yep. So I really enjoyed my company the first day I came to our youth division in Christchurch. That is. I really enjoyed the company that I had with the friendship with people, and the environment of the youth division I went to was really good, to be honest. And
because there's a real comradeship, isn't it?
Yeah. You grow like a family, like a whānau. You create within the division. So that's what got me back, and like now I can say St John is my family.
You're kind of here to stay, sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of here to stay.
Now, what you've been facing over the course of this weekend, and it's typical of the festival, is some really interesting scenarios. In fact, we got you down at the lakefront, I think, taking things very seriously, but you have to in situations like that.
Yes, we do. I had a patient before. We had a CPR patient. It was a baby, and we had to do CPR on him, and it was quite tough on my whole team to actually do that kind of things. And you have to have this motivation and dedication to St John Youth to do that.
And when you get to a scenario, and there's lots of them, I know that. When you get to a scenario, what happens?
It's all straightforward, and you know what you've done. We've trained for 7 weekends overall, and we know what we're doing. Straight away we get into it, get our priorities sorted.
You have to assess the scene a bit too.
Yes, we have to assess it. And the first thing we go through is normal doctor's ABC, check for danger, check for the patient's response, and send for help. and we come back down to the basics. So the basics are ABC, so airway, breathing, circulation.
What we saw, Ravi, was things being taken very seriously. Obviously, you've got the judges with the clipboards in the background there. They're assessing you and so on. It is competitive, but situations like those scenarios happen every day. They're unpredictable.
Yeah, pretty much. If you're the first one at a scene, it's like,
what do I do?
Yeah, what do I do now? And it's like, if you're a St John Youth Cadet, like if I come across a CPR patient who's having a cardiac arrest, I know what to do. I can call for backup, and I know what's the next step, and I can get that organised and get the patient the help.
Sure. You talked at the beginning, Ravi, about the fact that it's like a family and so on. The other aspect that came through was that you are part of a team. As we mentioned to Sonia, there's no I in team, we know that.
No, yeah.
But how important is it that the team coordinates and works together?
It's very important for the team to be motivated and to work as a team. And so my team at this year is called Carotid. So it's a mixture of vegetable
That's
and
an interesting name.
Yeah, it's a carotid, so it's a carrot, and we've got everything around with carrots. So, and then it's pretty much we come as a team, and we come as a squad. So squad is from South Island region. We are a region in the whole South Island. We come together, and then we become a team. So we've got 4 teams in our region. We've got different names and different things, and we do lots of team bonding stuff like. Just staying at other person's place, and
getting to know each other.
Getting to know other. Like Christchurch is a main base place where everyone comes together, and we can just bring people to Christchurch and just stay in the teammates' place. It's just who we are. It's like
That's right.
It's St John.
Yeah. Now St John is an integral part of our society. There's the caring callers. There's all sorts of aspects, including the youth side. How important is it that young people get involved at an early age with St John? Is it something that you would recommend?
I would really recommend parents to join the cadets while they're penguins or while they're doing the cadet program.
And I've got to pause you there. The penguins are the little tinies.
Yes, penguins are the little tiny ones from, and then it's important for a cadet to grow, and like, as I said before, a CPR scenario. If they're in schools, if their teacher has a heart condition, anything like that, if they go down, cadet knows what they're doing, and the highest ranking cadet can actually go through, which is the GP, which is GP's Grand Prix Award. That's the highest thing they can earn while they're a cadet. So these mixture of badges they can get over that.
So it would be fair to say that Ravi Prasad is with St John for the long haul.
Yes, we are.
Appreciate what you're doing, and also good luck for the competitions here, and thanks indeed for talking to us.
Looks like a great time was had by all at the St John National Youth Festival held here at Henners Bay on the weekend. And if you have any news that you'd like to share with us, give the station a call on 07 3488 984, or you can email news@tv-rotorua.co.nz. Thanks for watching tonight. From all the team here at City News, Pomaria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News was brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.